NTA International News.
President Buhari directs Inspector General of Police to within available resources and renewed hostilities in parts of the country. Thanks British government for their support in degrading Boko Haram. Federal government designs a new partnership between state, local governments and companies in all producing communities. New regional director UNIDO and representatives of ECOWAS presents a letter of credence to the Nigerian government, pledges to stimulate small and medium enterprises. Hello there, it's good to have you join us on the news on NTA International. I am Shegun Lawale. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to do whatever it takes within available resources, not only to put an end to the renewed hostilities in parts of the country, but also to ensure that perpetrators are brought to justice. This was when he granted audience to the police chief in continuation of his strategic engagement with critical stakeholders on national security. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, was in the State House to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on, among others, the crisis in Ile-Ife, Osun State, and Zakibiam, Benue State, as the latest addition to the security concerns in the country. The briefing, held behind closed doors, which lasted about 45 minutes, centered on the genesis and the negative impact of the crisis on national unity and stability, as well as efforts at dealing with the situation appropriately towards forestalling future occurrence.
Come to see the president, obviously, to sort of share the, most of these are deployment strategies on the ground, deployment to some of these flashpoints all over the country. That's to Benue State, that's the current one. Deployment to Kaduna State, which has started some few weeks back, and the deployment to the Ile-Ife crisis, where presently we have a lot of police officers, both, special squads and the investigation team, in our effort to ensure that we have security all over the country.
IGP Ibrahim Idris said President Muhammadu Buhari is seriously concerned about the loss of lives and property as a result of such crises, saying he will not accept any excuses from those responsible for the maintenance of law and order. Are there specific directives by the President to you after you briefed about it?
Obviously, to ensure that all of us use all the, facilities at our disposal to make sure that some of these incidents that you're talking about are brought under control immediately.
And what assurance did you give him?
Obviously, like I told you, I give assurance that we're going to do that. And that's why we deployed our special unit to Benue from 16th of this month. And we have not displayed this, we have sort of deployed a special unit specifically to get that Ghana. And I promise you that we are going to get him.
The Director General of the Department of State Security, Lawal Daura, also briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the activities of his organization, but details were not made public. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed appreciation to the British government for the very effective material and logistics support to Nigeria in the fight against Boko Haram. The president, in a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, said in spite of isolated attacks against soft targets, the British assistance helped in flushing Boko Haram out of their hideout base and severely degraded their capacity to mount a serious attack on Nigerian assets. President Buhari's appreciation is contained in a formal letter he wrote to the British Prime Minister Theresa May on behalf of the people of Nigeria, to express his heartfelt condolences to the injured and families of the dead in Wednesday's terrorist attack in London. He said the horrid incident underscores the threat we all live under, adding that terrorism has no borders and no season. Meanwhile, the federal government says it has designed a new partnership that will involve states and local governments and companies in the oil-producing communities of the Niger Delta region. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who dropped this hint at a town meeting on Niger Delta State in Umuahia, Abia State, said it is part of measures to address miscellaneous challenges facing the people of the area. He commended the residents of the oil-producing areas in the state for not indulging in vandalism of all installations. He said as communities who contribute to the development and growth of the country, the federal government will ensure their welfare is prioritized.
On behalf of the President Commander-in-Chief, with cabinet colleagues and heads of government agencies, to propose a new way of doing business with the oil communities, a new vision, and also to signpost a new era in our dealings and relationships with the people of the oil communities in this state and in Nigeria as a whole.
The federal government has launched another irrigation project in Ilaibu, local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria, to further strengthen all year-round farming in the state. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu flagged off the irrigation system alongside the Graduate Farmers Youth Empowerment Scheme under the Benin Owena River Basin Development Authority. Musba Danwahab reports.
It was a moment that called for celebration. Another set of youth graduates about to be liberated from the labor markets. It is the 8th in the series of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources Empowerment Scheme through agriculture.
I've not been doing anything all those.
Joseph Ileche is one of the 60 graduates to join other 30 farmers and grow watermelon here, preparatory to rice cultivation in about 3 months. Like others, Joseph has been allocated half a hectare of land under the Ilaibu Pivot Irrigation Scheme.
Rice requires a lot of water, so they said let's start with a watermelon.
It is our plan to increase the number of graduate farmers to 1,000 over the next year as we prepare additional farmlands from the available 3,000 hectares.
While the youth farmers will be on the line for training this year under the Songhai Integrated Farm Model, they are expected to grow in the process, boost food security, and enhance the nation's economy.
I pray that the program will provide opportunity for the youth to take giant strides away from idleness and poverty, and enable many of them to become leading agricultural entrepreneurs.
Your presence shows that this regime is actually very interested in agri.
While Joseph and his counterpart look forward to harvest their watermelon in large scale in less than 3 months, they are still faced with the age-long challenges, access roads, farm implements, and insecurity among others, which the minister agreed to address. From Ila in Delta State, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
And following ECOWAS' quest for true reconciliation, peace and fight against terrorism, members of the parliament have visited the government and the people of Gao in northern Mali. Correspondent Olayinka Ujo reports.
In 2017, a military camp in Gao, north of Mali, was attacked by a suicide bomber carrying a vehicle full of explosives that killed over 50 people and wounded dozens of soldiers. Is the attack a setback on the peace process?
The suicide attack will not deter us from continuing in the peace process that we are engaging. It rather emboldens us to do more, because the more they attack, the more we reach out to people, the more we come out to defend ourselves and to show people that violence does not pay.
Gao is a city in Mali located on the river Niger, 320 kilometers east-southeast of Timbuktu. It was an important commercial center during the Trans-Sahara trade. Members of the parliament, led by the Speaker, ECOWAS Parliament, Mustafa Siselo, encouraged the people of Gao to cultivate the culture of peace. Mr. Siselo added that the ECOWAS delocalized meeting is concerned about the spate of terrorism in the region.
Insecurity that really hampers development. So we have to work hand in hand together in order to get out of this period, this crisis.
Governor of Gao, Seydou Traoré, expressed delight that the people of Gao now understand that ECOWAS parliamentarians are working towards ensuring peace return to the region.
ECOWAS member states, they have understood that Mali need assistance and Mali need friendship, of course, from all the populations of the sub-region.
The visit was also used to commiserate with the families of those who died during the attack. In Gao, north of Mali, Olayinka Ujo, NTA News.
The new regional director of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and representative to ECOWAS, Jean Bankole, has presented his letter of credence to the Nigerian government with a pledge to stimulate growth among small and medium enterprises. Monto Damian Dati reports.
Receiving the regional director on behalf of the federal government, the Minister of Foreign Affairs expressed Nigeria's willingness to collaborate with UNIDO.
We are trying in the government to diversify, and of course our main objective is the industrialization, of our country.
Jean Bankole was also at the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to discuss areas of intervention.
You can identify energy as something we must solve, then it gets down to industrialization.
The new UNIDO representative to ECOWAS and regional director of Nigeria, Jean Bankole, said the new country plan will be initiating incentives to attract investments and stimulate growth among small medium enterprises with a view to building capacity among youths while promoting eco-friendly industries.
To leverage, the industrialization, in particular, to set up a number of incentives which can help the SMEs to develop.
UNIDO is to come up with a specific framework geared towards capacity building and Nigeria's economic development. In Abuja, Momso Demiendati, NTA News.
The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation says it does not have the authority to award contracts. However, it explained that with all awards of contract in government, the presidential initiative in the Northeast contract were awarded following strict compliance with public expenditure and procurement processes. This is contained in a statement by the Director of Press, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bolaji Adebi, in reaction to Friday's front page publications of the Nation and Punch newspapers captioned SGF to explain how fake firms got 1.3 billion naira contract and grass cutting probe contract awarded to 20 ghost firms, Senate panel, respectively. The statement advised the media to report fairly, be mindful of government structure and powers of functionaries, as the SGF is not even a member of the tenders board. This is the news on NTA International from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Stay tuned for more reports after the break.
The Victory Chapel is a place of worship and fellowship for all indigenous of Imo State. This architectural masterpiece was designed by Governor Rochas with the intention that prayers are made for Imo State at the seat of power. The Victory Chapel can sit 3,000 people and is a testament to the rescue mission's goal for a better Imo. Here at the chapel, there is victory for everyone. The Imo Rescue Mission. Imo must be better.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thanks for joining us again. The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has commenced another round of training for staff towards meeting its mandate of providing excellent television broadcast to its teeming viewers. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports that the training is taking place at the corporate headquarters of the NTA in Abuja.
From all departments were addressed briefly by the Executive Director Training and Capacity Building, Ibrahim Damisa, who represented the Director General, Yakubu Ebon Mohammed. He urged them to make judicious use of the training opportunity as they will be assessed based on their performances.
Management places very high premium on this training exercise. And I want our staff to be dedicated to it, to be committed to it, and to be very truthful, be very frank. This training exercise is going to be continuous because you that are being trained will be fanned out to the zones to ensure that the training percolates to the grassroots.
The 4 core areas that the staff are being trained are audio, vision, camera, and lighting.
Techniques of shooting the packages, maybe longer establishing shots, etc.
The trainees are working in clusters for their practicals.
The impact on the NTA stations, a set level of broadcast standards. Everybody will be working to the same standard. The graphics packages will be the same standards. Every edit in every show will look the same, giving more content and giving better technical experience. The overall output would be better quality control.
The training is part of the revolution of the present management of the NTA in order to remain at the top of broadcast stations in the country. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
As every 24th of March is set aside to mark the World Tuberculosis Day, Minister of Health Professor Isaac Adewale has launched the Gene Expert Machine at Kuchigoro Primary Healthcare Center. This is aimed at detecting more cases, especially at the primary healthcare level, in line with the year's slogan of accelerating case finding. Aisha Ubali reports.
24th of March is World Tuberculosis Day, a day set aside to increase tuberculosis awareness among countries of the world. Aside this outreach in communities like Kuchuguru, the federal government this year had other activities lined up to commemorate this year's celebration. First, it was a stakeholder meeting and then a road walk.
To get people to know. Why is this important that we get people to know? Because we are not finding the cases. And the Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, has said that we must go out there, get people to know what TB is.
The celebration, which rounded off with the launch of a Gene Expert Machine at the Kuchugoro Primary Healthcare Center, the minister said with the equipment, more cases will be detected, treated and cured, which is in line with the global target to end tuberculosis by year 2035.
Well, I think the most important thing that we have done is to bring the diagnosis, the TB and treatment of TB closer to the people. The PAC as an institution is an institution that is closest to our people. So what we are saying is that TB service should also be close to them.
Though the treatment of tuberculosis has been free, but speakers at the event see another hurdle Nigeria needs to cross is the issue of multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. But the cheering news is that the Gene Expert Machine can not only detect TB, but also drug-resistant TB within 2 hours.
Before, the microscope will only see a mycobacterium bacilli. This one will tell you whether it is drug susceptible or drug resistant.
With strong recommendation that for Nigeria to achieve this global target, HIV and tuberculosis screening should be done simultaneously. Development partners also pledge their continuous support for Nigeria to end tuberculosis in the near future. Out of the 293 primary healthcare facilities in FCT, only 15 will be having these gene machines. Challenge Tuberculosis Nigeria, a non-governmental organization funded by USAID, which provided the equipment, said it will install 185 of the gene machine in primary healthcare centers across the country. In Abuja, Aisha Ubali, NTA News.
And now talking business. Trading on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended the week on a negative note as all-share index depreciates by 0.23%. Chukunansu Nwabweze is on Business News.
Hello and thanks for joining us. The federal government says it has created more than 7,000 jobs in 3 months under the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. In addition to this positive development, each of the 11 blending plants operating the initiative is expected in the next few months to create additional 1,200 employment opportunities for the country's teeming population.
And if we estimate, we're looking to 2 to 2.5 million jobs created in this value chain. Then you have the agro dealers that comes to the plants and buy the fertilizer.
Meanwhile, West Africa's biggest cotton producer, Mali, this Friday projected a 12% output increase in the upcoming 2017-2018 season. The West African country hit a record yield of 645,000 tons of cotton in the current season, a milestone the country expects to rise to 725,000 tons at the end of next season. The new target, the Minister of Agriculture in a statement said, will be achieved by planting more land, renewing subsidies, and continuing a 2-year-old program that provides tractors at reduced prices. And time now for a check on closing figures on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange this Friday. The stock market report concludes the business news segment. I am Chukunonso Nwabueze.
The bilateral relationship between Pakistan and Nigeria is said to be critical in resuscitating the textile industry in the country. Minister of State Foreign Affairs, represented by Ambassador Hamid Bala, indicated this during the celebration of Pakistani Day at the Pakistan High Commission in Abuja. Musa Abubakar has details.
Pakistan-Nigeria relationship is more than 5 decades old, with mutual interests in the area of security and trade. With an estimated $900 million volume of trade between the two countries, bilateral ties remain strong. It is perhaps in view of this alliance that the Pakistan High Commission in Nigeria deems it worthy to commemorate the 77th National Pakistani Day, which marks Lahore Resolution passed on the 23rd of March 1940, making it the first Islamic republic.
I'm very satisfied on the scale of cooperation. However, our trade is growing, and I'm very positive in coming years the trade will grow much more than it was last year.
It's for us to develop the relationship positively between our two nations from strength to strength.
We are trying to build up the relationship so that when we have more investors in the country, especially during this time that we are in recession, then it will quickly move us forward.
The event brought together people from various diplomatic missions.
Besides commemorating the first adoption of the Pakistani constitution, the day creates an avenue to reflect on the journey of nationhood, taking cognizance of development partners such as Nigeria. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
For stories outside the shores of Nigeria, let's join Adebola Brookslyn Sunday.
Former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak has been freed from detention 6 years after being overthrown. Mubarak left a military hospital in southern Cairo and went to his home in the northern suburb. He was ordered freed earlier this month after Egypt's top appeal court cleared him over the deaths of protesters in the 2011 uprising. 88 years Mubarak became president in 1981 after the assassination of Anwar Sadat. And Gambia's Justice Minister says the country will set up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate abuses committed during the country's ex-president Yahya Jammeh's rule. He also said people will be encouraged to confess to crimes and victims will be offered compensation. The former regime was accused of widespread torture and enforced disappearance during its 22-year rule. There were also unconfirmed allegations that more than $11 million went missing from the coffers following Mr. Jammeh's departure in January. Meanwhile, British police said they have made 2 further significant arrests in the investigation into the attack on London's Parliament and gave the birth name of the man behind the killing as Adrian Russell Ajao. Britain top anti-terrorism officer Mark Rowley said police had 9 people in custody after the attack on Wednesday, which killed 5 people, including the assailant. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
In our sports, Coach Gernot Rohr says he is satisfied with Super Eagles' 1-1 draw against Senegal in London, as over 6,000 athletes compete in Akwa Ibom Sports Festival. The Inde Sani has more sports update.